The Entrepreneurial Society begins in a Europe facing a profound crisis of confidence. In the wake of the global financial crash of 2007 to 2008 and the subsequent political upheavals, from Brexit to the rise of populist movements, a sense of discontent had spread across the continent. The European project, once a beacon of stability and opportunity, seemed to be losing its appeal. It was against this backdrop that a group of nearly 40 researchers from 9 institutes across Europe embarked on a 3-year journey called the FIRES Project: Financial and Institutional Reforms for the Entrepreneurial Society. Their mission was bold yet practical: to translate decades of academic research on entrepreneurship into concrete, actionable strategies that could reignite Europe's innovative and inclusive growth. This book is the culmination of that journey, a roadmap for building a more entrepreneurial society not through a one-size-fits-all blueprint, but through a tailored, historically informed approach that respects the deep institutional diversity of Europe. The central argument of the book is that an entrepreneurial society is not just about having more people start businesses. It is a complex ecosystem where individuals and organizations are empowered to create valuable new combinations of ideas and resources. However, this creative process is both enabled and constrained by the macro-level institutions that surround them, the rules of the game concerning finance, labor, knowledge, and law. The European Union, with its vast differences between member states, cannot simply copy the Silicon Valley model. Instead, it must craft reform strategies that are sensitive to each region's unique history and institutional fabric. To do this, the FIRES project developed a powerful multidisciplinary toolkit and a 7-step procedure for designing effective reforms. The journey toward reform starts with understanding history. The book makes a compelling case that you cannot design the future without understanding the past. The institutions that shape entrepreneurship today, whether in finance, education, or labor markets, are not accidents. They are the product of long-term historical processes. For instance, the banking systems in Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom evolved along very different paths. In Germany, a network of local savings banks and cooperatives emerged to serve small businesses and communities, a legacy of a coordinated approach to finance. In contrast, the UK's banking system became highly centralized and market-oriented. Similarly, family structures and social ties, which can be traced back centuries, still influence how entrepreneurs access informal funding today. A historical perspective reveals which institutions are deeply entrenched and resistant to change, and which are more dynamic. This knowledge is crucial for policymakers. It tells them where they can push for rapid reform, and where they must work with the grain of history. With a historical understanding in place, the next step is to diagnose the current health of a region's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Here, the book introduces a sophisticated diagnostic tool, the Regional Entrepreneurship and Development Index, or REDI. Unlike simple measures like the number of startups, REDI captures the complex, systemic nature of entrepreneurship. It measures 14 different pillars, grouped into 3 key areas: entrepreneurial attitudes, abilities, and aspirations. These pillars include factors like opportunity perception, networking, access to finance, and innovation capabilities. The REDI methodology has a clever feature. It penalizes regions for having severe weaknesses in any single pillar. Just like a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, an entrepreneurial ecosystem is held back by its most significant bottlenecks. This tool allows policymakers to move beyond gut feelings and identify the precise areas where intervention will have the greatest leverage effect for improvement. But what is the economic payoff for improving an entrepreneurial ecosystem? To answer this, the researchers built the GMR-Europe model, a cutting-edge economic impact assessment tool. This model is unique because it integrates geographic, regional, and macroeconomic dimensions. It can simulate how a policy that boosts a region's REDI score, say by improving access to venture capital or enhancing entrepreneurial education, ripples through the economy. The model tracks impacts on productivity, GDP, employment, and wages, not just in the target region but across interconnected regions and countries. The simulations deliver a powerful and perhaps sobering message. the benefits of entrepreneurship policies are not evenly distributed. A uniform policy applied across all of Europe will yield vastly different results. Core, already developed regions with high levels of human capital and existing entrepreneurial activity tend to gain the most. This creates a tension between the level at which policies are made and where their impacts are felt, highlighting the need for careful, place-based policy design. The book then delves into a fundamental insight. There is not one single, best, type of entrepreneurship. Drawing on the varieties of capitalism framework, it explains that different institutional constellations foster different kinds of entrepreneurial ventures. Liberal market economies like the United Kingdom and the United States, with their flexible labor markets, active stock markets, and general education systems, are excellent at generating radically innovative, high-growth, but high-risk, gazelle companies. Coordinated market economies like Germany, with their strong vocational training, long-term bank finance, and collaborative industry networks, excel at fostering incrementally innovative firms, the renowned Mittelstand. These businesses may not grow explosively, but they innovate steadily, export successfully, and provide stable, high-quality employment. Meanwhile, Mediterranean and Eastern European economies often have institutional environments that, for historical reasons, are better suited to more imitative or cost-competitive entrepreneurship. The crucial takeaway is that each model has its strengths and weaknesses. Policymakers should be wary of blindly chasing the Silicon Valley dream and instead consider how to build on their economy's inherent institutional advantages to support the type of entrepreneurship that fits best. Given Europe's multi-level governance structure, a critical question arises. What can the European Union itself actually do to promote an entrepreneurial society? The book provides a clear-eyed analysis of the EU's legal and political competences. The principle of subsidiarity is paramount. The EU should only act when objectives cannot be sufficiently achieved by member states. For key areas like industrial policy and education, the EU has only supporting competences. This means its role is to coordinate, supplement, and encourage action by national and regional governments, not to impose harmonized rules. The EU's main entrepreneurship policy instruments, like the Small Business Act and the Entrepreneurship 2020 Action Plan, reflect this reality. They are frameworks for action that rely heavily on member states for implementation. Therefore, the primary engine for institutional reform must be at the national and regional levels. The EU can facilitate by funding research, promoting best practice exchange, and ensuring a well-functioning single market, but the heavy lifting of institutional change is a national responsibility. Armed with this multidisciplinary toolkit, historical analysis, the REDI diagnostic, the GMR impact model, and the varieties of capitalism lens, the book then presents tailored reform strategies for three major EU economies, each representing a different capitalist model. For Italy, classified as a Mediterranean market economy, the diagnosis reveals a paradox. The country boasts a vibrant culture of small, often family-owned firms, particularly in its industrial districts. However, its entrepreneurial ecosystem is stifled by a burdensome bureaucracy, a rigid labor market, and an education system that does not always promote creativity and risk-taking. The reform strategy, therefore, focuses on cutting red tape to make it easier to start and run a business. It also advocates for educational reforms to foster a more experimental mindset and for improving the efficiency of the judicial system to enforce contracts more reliably. A key tension for Italy is between supporting the already successful northern regions and creating opportunities for the less developed south, ensuring that the benefits of a more entrepreneurial society are inclusive. Germany, the archetypal coordinated market economy, presents a different challenge. Its system is exceptionally good at supporting the incremental innovation of its Mittelstand. The danger is complacency. To remain competitive on the global technology frontier, Germany also needs to encourage more radical, breakthrough innovation. The reform strategy suggests encouraging its highly skilled workforce and successful entrepreneurs to take more calculated risks. This could involve reforms to the education system to boost creativity alongside its famed technical prowess, and creating a more level playing field for new, innovative ventures to attract talent and capital away from established giants. The core tension for Germany is balancing support for its traditional strengths with the need to channel resources into riskier, but potentially transformative, ventures. The United Kingdom, a liberal market economy, has a deregulated environment, strong universities, and deep financial markets that naturally foster high-growth entrepreneurship, particularly in places like London and the Southeast. Yet, the UK's strategy highlights weaknesses in spreading opportunities geographically and in building a deep knowledge base across the entire workforce. The reforms proposed focus on strengthening the skills and talent pool nationwide and ensuring that finance and support are available for firms that want to scale up in all regions, not just for flashy tech startups in the capital. For the UK, the tensions are both geographical and related to the variety of entrepreneurship. It must support not only radical innovators but also the steady growers that create jobs across the country. In conclusion, the Entrepreneurial Society tells a story of hope rooted in realism. Building a more dynamic, innovative, and inclusive Europe is possible, but there is no magic bullet or universal formula. It requires a humble, learning-by-doing approach. The 7-step procedure, from historical analysis to experimentation and evaluation, provides a disciplined method for this journey. The book argues passionately that the solution to Europe's discontent is not a retreat into nationalism, but a renewed commitment to delivering security, well-being, and opportunity through smarter, more tailored institutions. By embracing its own diversity and using the tools of history, geography, economics, and law, Europe can reform its way to a future where entrepreneurial energy drives sustainable and inclusive growth for all its citizens. The journey is complex and iterative, but this book provides the best possible starting point, illuminating the path forward with the combined light of multiple scientific disciplines.